Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Becoming Relentless. I am your host, Eleanor McCabe. I'm an IFBB bikini pro and a online health and fitness coach. And today I have a very special guest. She has been with me for so long now. Like, you're definitely one of my OGs. So I'm super, super excited to have you on the show. Megan, welcome.
Hi, I'm super excited to be here.
I'm really excited to have you here. So Megan and I, when we first started working together, it was a little over 2.5 years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
And because it was back when I was training at Factory Gym. I remember that. So I was still like on TM working over
Yep.
there, and we had a consult call, and you wanted to compete. So essentially, that was kind of where we started. And since then, we have been
Mhm.
through quite the journey. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited because I think that everything that you have been through and everything that you have done as we've worked together, like not only as an athlete, but just like as a human, I think that a lot of people are going to be able to learn from that. And so I'm excited that they get to hear your story. Um, I think I'm going to turn it over to you. So tell the people a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Um, and why are you on Becoming Relentless today?
All right. So my name is Megan, and like Noah said, I've been working with her for about 2.5 years. I am currently a firefighter. I'm a Navy vet, and I compete in bodybuilding. And I am here because I've been with Nona for a long time, but also because we're going to announce that I am starting my own coaching business.
Yay! Yes. And we'll get into that, but I think something that is very, like, fulfilling for me is being able to see how much people grow and evolve over time, and I look at coaching, I'm sure you do as well, like, I look at coaching as a privilege. Like, you get to side by side walk with people through their journeys, whether it's, like, getting
Mhm.
them, healthier, getting them into fitness, getting them onto the stage, like, whatever their goal may be, like, it's an honor to be part of that, and I think that you have that mindset, um, of just wanting to help people and knowing that you can serve others, and especially in the coaching space, I think that that is much needed. So I'm really, really excited for you to start taking that journey because I know that it's something that you have been interested in and passionate about for a while now. Um, I wanna let the listeners kind of get a really good sense of who you are, so tell us a little bit about, like, what was life like for you before your fitness journey?
Yeah, so I was a high school athlete, and that's kind of how I got into fitness. I was athletic, but I definitely wasn't the star athlete by any means, so I had to work a lot harder. And I got into running long distance and slowly made my way into the gym, but I never took it truly extreme or serious until I was in the Navy. And I realized people actually rely on me being physically capable of doing the job. And that's kind of, I guess I've always had fitness in my life in a
Mhm.
sense, just being an athlete. But once I joined the Navy is like when I really was like, okay, I got to get into the gym. I really got to work out. I couldn't even deadlift the barbell. I was struggling, barely 100 pounds. Like, I was a twig and I didn't realize it was very humbling getting into the gym for the first time and realizing, oh, just because I can run a lot doesn't mean that I'm super strong.
Right.
Uh, so the Navy is what actually like motivated me to get actually physically fit in the gym lifting weights.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I think especially, like, a lot of the audience, like, and the listeners that I've gotten to talk to as well, they have a very similar start where it's like maybe we played sports in high school or, like, college,
Mhm.
and then, of course, we all kind of find our way into bodybuilding. Do you feel like the Navy and, like, getting into the gym, that is what led you to bodybuilding, or what actually led you to start being interested in, like, competing?
So it's actually really funny how I got into it because I've always throughout my fitness, I've seen bodybuilders and I'm like, "Oh, that looks super cool," but I could just never do that, and I think a lot of times you hear the negatives about bodybuilding and you're just like, "Yeah, I'm staying as far away from that as possible." And it actually wasn't until I was a firefighter, like, career I was out of the Navy, went career firefighting, got really into fitness, and I had a lot of muscle growth, and I got very bulky, that somebody was like, "Hey, there's a competition coming up. You should do that." And I was like, "Nah, it's alright. I don't know the first thing about bodybuilding. It's fine."
Yeah.
And every day at the gym, he would nudge me, "You gotta try it. You gotta try it. You got the perfect physique." And I'm like, "Okay." And he got me with the, "You only need to lose a few pounds. You'll be fine."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay." And then, I got a coach and everything, had no idea what I was doing, and just kinda, like, jumped all in head first. And
Yeah.
and kind of learn bodybuilding from experiencing it.
Yeah.
So, it was more so actually, like, hearing people say I'd be good at it that actually convinced me to try it out, but I think seeing my, like, physique and being like, "Okay, maybe, like, I got something going on under there, I've worked really hard."
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I think that that's very valuable because I've almost changed my mind over the years, like, as a coach, my perspective has changed in that I think sometimes just going all in and doing a prep and getting on stage and, like, having the experience, it does it changes a lot of things for you, and it will tell you right
Yeah.
away, like, "Do I like this or do I not like this?"
Yeah.
Because I previously, I would always say, like, you should have an off season and, like, you should
Mhm.
live the lifestyle for years before you do it, but, like, at the same time, I think that there's a lot of value or like, a valid experience to just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go all in," because that's what I did
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Then it's like it teaches you very quickly. You're like, "Oh, I think I could do this again," or you're like, "Nope, I don't like it." Could go
Yep,
either way.
that's where I was at. I think I had no idea. I went from eating whatever I wanted to strict routine, like certain calories, just
Yep.
everything all in, and it was like, "Oh my gosh," and I had to watch YouTube videos to be like, "Is this normal? What's happening to me?"
Is the way that I'm feeling right now okay? Because I don't know.
I'm really tired all the time.
Yeah. It's so, like it's hard to describe
Yeah.
unless you've done it. Like, you could sit there and tell somebody, like, "You're gonna feel tired, you're gonna feel hungry, you're going to be a little bit less patient." Like, you can walk
Mhm.
it all out, but the actual experience of it is very different, and, like, everybody
Yeah.
experiences it differently. So,
Mhm.
I think that that's always a great way to start in bodybuilding, honestly, because you just
Yeah.
know. So, after your first show, like, how did you feel? Did you is that what, like, really got you to be passionate about following bodybuilding?
I think so I went through waves
Mhm.
after my competition because after the when the competition was over that night, I think I sat in my car and just, like, decompressed. I ate a cookie and I was like, "What did I just do
Yeah.
for the last few weeks?" And, after that, I was like, "Well, I didn't feel the best." And seeing the pictures and the photos of me on stage and being like, "Okay, I actually didn't know what I was doing at all, and I didn't know how important certain aspects, like holding your poses for a really long time. I didn't realize how important that part,
Yeah.
those little key details are." And so, I remember in my head, like, it wasn't great. Show day wasn't the funnest, but I wanna do it again. I can't say that this isn't for me until I've given it, like, my actual best.
Mhm.
And so, I decided after that, like, I'm gonna dive all in. I'm gonna learn this sport to a T, and then I'm gonna learn it all, and then I'm gonna try it one more time, and if that one more time isn't good enough, then I'll call it quits, but I didn't feel right about calling it quits on bodybuilding until I actually gave it my all,
Yeah.
if that yeah.
Yeah. Like, you had that first experience, and then it's like, "Okay, I do want to live the lifestyle. I want to see what it would be like to
Mhm.
give, like, a growth season, off season, prep, everything, like, with posing,
Yeah.
the details. Because I like, that is the other part of it, and that's kind of the not frustrating, but that's kind of the funny part about bodybuilding is there is there's always going to be something where you're like, "Oh, I could have done that better," or "I want to improve that." Maybe not, "I could
Yeah,
have done it better." Maybe it's more just like you get on stage, you see the pictures, you look back, and you're like, "Okay, next time I can do this different or better." And so it
yeah,
just kinda keeps you going. It's like the never-ending motivation because there's always something.
there
Um,
is.
do you feel like at the beginning, did you have anybody or anything that, like, really influenced you?
Um, I feel like in the beginning of my in my beginning of my body prep or bodybuilding prep, I had a lot of my coworkers that were like,
Mhm.
"You've got this." I think my station chief, he was, like, my biggest fan through the whole thing. He's like, "You've got this," and even when I was deep in prep, he's like in the gym, he's like, you can do it, just keep pushing yourself," and
Yeah.
he was, like, my biggest motivator to get, like, to that point, and, like, he taught me a lot about just not quitting on yourself,
Mhm.
and I think he's the reason why and few other people that I worked with are, like, the reasons why I literally even in the worst part of that prep, when I
Yeah.
was feeling my worst, they were like, "Just don't quit on yourself. Just don't quit on yourself. Because if you quit on yourself, you're gonna feel even worse about yourself." So,
Yep.
they definitely helped.
Yeah. I think that's amazing 'cause the support system that you have around you is, like, it's so important.
It
Um,
is.
and it, like, makes or breaks the prep sometimes because
Mhm.
there are hard days and, like, of course, everyone's always like, "Oh, it should be intrinsically motivated," but it helps to have, like, external support and motivation. So,
Yeah. It does.
I'm trying to think, as far as, like, when you started with it, did you have any, like, misconceptions that you remember, or was there anything where you're like, "Oh, I thought it was gonna be this way, but it was actually this way?"
There were so many misconceptions. I was a part of these that whole mentality beforehand that you don't really need to count your macros to have the physique you want, or you can eat whatever you want and like have a good body. Um, and so I learned so much when I got into prep. It was like I learned how important every macro was for every aspect of your body, how it actually fuels you. I think seeing when you get lean and then you eat carbs and then you see how your body looks the next day and it's like, where was this physique a week ago?
Yep.
Uh, those things, but I think I didn't realize the difference in workout styles.
Mhm.
I didn't realize how important going to failure on a lot of movements was, and not just doing, like, your 6 to 8 reps to get strong. There's a part of you that has to, like, keep pushing even when it hurts, even when you're too tired, your body's burning out, you're like, "Go to the end, go to the end." I didn't know to do that at first.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was really truly a thing, I think. I didn't really think about it. Um, so that I think is the biggest area. I had no idea. And then just in general, I didn't know how tired you could get when you're low on
Yeah.
calories and just how much of a struggle it was gonna be every day in the gym, like watching your strength slowly go away in
Yeah.
a sense over time. It was definitely a weird process of like, "What's happening to me?"
Right. Yeah, it is, like I said earlier, it's, like, hard to explain until you do it because, like,
Yeah.
logically, we know, okay, calories and food is energy, but when you go from, like, just kinda being normal, eating whatever all the time and, like, not really thinking too much about it to actually thinking about everything that you're putting into your mouth and then seeing how your body changes from that, it's a crazy change.
It's a wild experience, it
Yeah.
really is,
Yeah.
and just, like, you really have to dig down sometimes and be like, "What am I doing?" But
Mhm.
it I think it was all around so cool to just it really taught me so much about my body, and
Yeah.
that's literally why I'm doing what I'm doing now is because that moment of, like, "Wow, all this actually matters in such
Mhm.
a bigger picture than I ever thought."
Yeah. I agree 100%. Do you so I kind of like the foundation that we have as far as, like, how prep has affected you and how that really got you started in bodybuilding. So, on the
Mhm.
more, like, mental side, because obviously, like, there are the big physical changes that we always see, but I think mentally, like, the journey is is also, like, very important to talk about because there's a lot of things that happen, like, mentally, emotionally, spiritually as you go through that experience.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess for you, like, what do you feel like has shifted mentally since you started bodybuilding throughout the years and then even, like, to now?
I think I'm at a place where I feel like I have just more confidence in myself. So I'm not doing bodybuilding because I need that like validation or that attention or anything. I feel like I'm doing it because it's actually a cool sport to be a part of and it's fun and I love the community. And I think I've begun to surround myself more with people that feel that that you don't need to go out and party, you don't need to go out and drink all the time or do these things to have fun, and I think that's gonna be important for me when I'm in prep too, is just surrounding
Mhm.
myself with people that are like, "We can just watch a movie, it's okay."
Yeah.
Um, I didn't have that necessarily when I first started. I didn't have, like, a lot of friends to just, like, sit at home with and relax, so it was kind of lonely when I first started.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I have a community, even people that are on the other side of the country who support me and I support them. And then I think my faith has grown a lot. I really
Mhm.
wasn't like invested in my faith back when I started. And now I feel like I've invested so much into it that that just fuels me more than anything to
Yeah.
just be strong no matter like how I'm feeling.
Yeah. I I wanna hear, like, a little bit more about that. So do you? Because there's sometimes, like, it's not narrative. There's sometimes, like, people will talk about bodybuilding and faith, and they'll argue that bodybuilding isn't, like, aligned spiritually or, like, it's not like, it depends on your intentions, right, and, like, how you're going about it. So do you feel like you've ever struggled with that, or do you feel like it's just really strengthened your faith throughout the journey?
I definitely in the beginning was like, how can I bodybuild and be true to my faith? Because I think what I've heard the most is bodybuilding's so vain and vanity is a
Mhm.
sin and we shouldn't be to be a good Christian, you can't do that. Or that I'm wearing a bikini on stage in front of a bunch of people.
Right.
And those are like the two biggest ones that I've always heard people come at me with. And I think like, yes, you can look at it from a small lens of that way, but I feel like one bodybuilding, as I've learned working with you, there's so much more than just that stage.
Mhm.
There's so much more that goes into it, the health phase, the bulking, the cutting, the maintenance, like, everything else that plays a part, and I think with you, I've learned the most important part is taking care of your body, and I think that is in a sense biblical. Like,
Mhm.
God gave me this body, so first and foremost, I have to nourish it and I have to take care of it, and it was made to be strong and it was made to do these movements. And then I think that when I'm on stage or like when I'm in my prep or competing in general, I can look to him for all the strength as long as I'm not, I think, and this is where I struggle with like explaining it, I guess,
Mhm.
but I don't see it as vanity if I'm not idolizing my body. Like
Right.
I'm not up there because I think I'm the best. It's I'm up there because I want to be the best, but I'm not. That's actually how do I explain that?
Yeah.
No, I think it's like, yeah, idolizing my body. I'm not idolizing my body
Mhm.
the way that people might think that I am. I'm trying to, like any other sport, win,
Right.
but I'm just doing it in a different way of everybody else. But I do think I can use the Lord to strengthen me on that journey.
Mhm.
And I do think that there is a way that you can have the two combined.
Yeah.
If that, yeah.
I am in agreement. Like, I think that that is a great, like, counter because that is also what I hear is, like, bodybuilding is so vain, like, you're just
Mhm.
obsessed with yourself, and to your point, like, I'm sure that there are people who start to like, they're worshiping this body that they've built, and, like, that but as long as you have the intentions and, like, you know why you're pursuing bodybuilding and it's not for the
Mhm.
purpose of putting yourself above others or putting your body, like, as something that is to be, like, idolized, I then,
Mhm.
like, I do think that there's room for both.
Yep.
But that is kind of the argument that I hear as well, or, like, people will say things like, "Well, how can how can you go to the gym and, like, wear outfits like that?" And, like,
Yeah.
it's just, I could go down a rabbit hole, but I
Same.
I think that as far as what you just said, like, I do think a lot of Christians in bodybuilding can relate to that because that is something that we come up against, or
Mhm.
it's at least criticism that we face, and just knowing in your heart, like, why you're doing what you're doing, and you know that you're not putting yourself
Mhm.
before or above anyone, like, then I do think that
Yeah.
there's room. Um,
Yeah.
but it is, like, it's hard, like, it's a really difficult it's difficult to fathom sometimes, like, especially when you are in the harder parts of whatever phase that you're in, and, like, having faith is what strengthens you, but then having people question that can also be it's very frustrating.
Can be,
Um,
yes.
do you feel like or no, I wanna rephrase that. How has your identity shifted since you started fitness and bodybuilding?
Um, hmm. I definitely think I've grown more confident
Mhm.
in a sense. I think I I've been humbled a lot by the sport. I will say that. I've been humbled a lot. I think in a sense just through this whole journey. Um, I've been humbled a lot and I think that's been great for just me realizing who I am. I think I remember when I first like my first phone call with you, I was like, "I wanna compete in, like, 20 weeks." And you were like, "Absolutely not." And I was like, "Oh." Um, and just, like, from there, just realizing, like, this isn't a quick process. You don't just get to choose when you wanna do this and your body is
Mhm.
just gonna go with it or something. So I think just like slowing down, realizing who I am, and taking that time to understand my body is just definitely given me a better sense of confidence because I feel like I know myself better now.
Yeah. And your story as well is a little bit there's more to it than just, like, the bodybuilding prep and then, like, us working together. And for those listening, like, you guys probably know, like, Megan has not been on stage yet 'cause I haven't posted her on stage or anything. So, as far as your journey from that last prep and then our phone call and us working together, and I do remember that conversation too, because I think at that time was when I was very much of the mindset that, like, "Hey, if you wanna compete, like, I'm gonna let you know when you're ready because otherwise, like, there's too many unknowns." Like, if we just jump into a prep and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll prep you in 20 weeks." There's just so many unknown factors that could come in that, number 1, like, make your life harder, make my job harder, and, the end result is not gonna be what either of us wants.
Mhm.
And I still do have that mindset, but like we touched on earlier, I feel like this last year, I have done a lot of I call them, like, shotgun preps, where I get a call, somebody's like, "I wanna do this show in my backyard in 16 weeks," and I'm like I just tell them, "Hey, that's not enough time, and I'm probably not gonna bring the absolute best that you could bring because we have this limited time, but if that's what you want, then let's do it so we can figure out if you actually like this sport or not."
Mhm.
Um, and honestly, I think after this year, I don't think I'm gonna do very much of that again. Because as much as, like, I love helping people get to stage, I genuinely think, like, the journey after the stage, in between the times you're on stage, like, that is when you grow the most, you learn the most, and you
Mhm.
have the most opportunity to actually get better in the sport. That's a tangent, but, I wanted to ask, like, so since the last prep that you did and, like, your last show and everything, and then us working together all the way till now, like, fill us all in, what's been going on? What have you been through? And where did we start? And then we'll go from there.
Okay. So, I was living in Guam when I competed the first time, so there was a small competition there, and like I said, I jumped into prep. I think I had 12 weeks to prep. and I was on stage.
Yeah.
So I think mentally at that point, I was like, "Oh, you just get a coach when you're ready to get on stage." And so I moved back to the States. I started working with a personal trainer, was getting my flow back after competing, kinda getting my strength back, and I was shopping around for coaches and couldn't find anybody that I clicked with, and then your Instagram kept popping up. Your
That's
podcast or
funny.
your original podcast kept popping up, and I was like, "Hmm, this girl's interesting." So I noticed that you had applications, and I that's how I applied for you, and I really wasn't expecting you to respond. I don't know what I was expecting and why I didn't expect you to respond. I was like, "She's an IFBB pro, she's way out there." Um, and then you called me, and we had a really good conversation, and you it made a lot of sense afterwards.
Mhm.
Our conversation of like, we're not just gonna dive in. I think we need to learn who you are, like learn how your body is, and kind of like get to know each other before we take that step. And it made sense. And I'm really glad that we did that because at that time I was dealing with some like gut issues that I didn't even realize I had yet. I had been overseas. I had gotten traveler's gut right before
Mhm.
we started working together. I think I'd just gotten back when we
Yeah.
um, started working, and I didn't know it for a while, and then in my check-ins, I think I was logging, like, that I was bloated all the time and
Mhm.
having GI issues, and you're like, "Girl, this is not normal." Um, and that kinda led us down, like, a road of, like, troubleshooting what's going on and why is it feeling like it's getting worse. I feel like I was gaining weight sometimes when you'd have me at lower calories, and it's like, "Why is this happening? This isn't making sense." Usually drop weight really easy,
Mhm.
and nothing was, like, going the way it was supposed to be going, and then we did the GI map, and my gut was all messed up. It had so much going on, and so, with Rise, I did a GI protocol, and it got a little better, but then it wasn't, like, fully better. And so we did more testing, it led us, like, Lyme's and mold and, like, still stuff probably going on with the gut and just, like, toxic overload.
Mhm.
So I went to another protocol. And so I think for a whole year, I was in some sort of health protocol. And it was a struggle because I had to step back from the gym.
Yeah.
I I couldn't be as active, I couldn't strength train, I could just kinda, like, go just to move, and that was it. And that was the hardest thing for me, as you know, like, being somebody that's worked out for 10 years straight and just being like, "Hey, you can't go to the gym
Mhm.
and do what you normally do," was it at times is really hard, and even on my I think it took a toll mentally at times where it was
Yeah.
like, I didn't realize how much mentally I rely on being able to go to the gym and work out, until then, and so for a year, we did that. Now we're on the up, and
Yay.
my gut's looking better, everything's looking better, and, um, so finally, we went through a very long health phase. So I
Yeah.
think most of the time I've worked with you, I've been in this health phase,
I
and
w
now
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
now we're going up.
We are. I would say, yeah, it's definitely been over a year of, like, protocols, which to anybody listening, like, I went through I did a GI map, GI protocol this past year, and it was as hard, if not harder than a prep to because
Mhm,
just like what you just said, like, you not only are, like, very restricted on, like, what you're eating, like, the supplements you're taking, it's a very strict regimen, but you're also being told not to be active, like, the way that you're used to, pull back on as
mhm,
much stress as possible, which, like, in today's modern society, like, stress is quite literally everywhere, like, everything is stress. Not to paint it as, like, the bad guy, because obviously, like, stress serves a purpose, but for us, like, when we're in these protocols, we're being told, like, 8 hours of sleep is, like, non-negotiable. You have to be getting your sleep, you have to be recovering, you can't push yourself too hard, and
mhm.
that's kind of where we, like, learned to flourish is, like, pushing hard,
Yeah,
and especially, like, when you're in the Navy, when you're firefighting, like, those are not low stress jobs, like, those are careers that are very stressful, not only mentally, but also, like, physically, um, So yeah, with doing a year basically of like these protocols and testing and everything, it was like we would do the GI and we'd almost take a step forward and then it would be like something else is happening. More testing,
Mhm.
more steps forward, some steps back, it felt like. But I do think, like to your point, we're in a really good place now where we know how your body's operating. We know, like, based on the time of the month, like, what's going on and how we can explain it. Like, the bloating that you're having, it's probably because you're getting close to this or, like, this happened. And not a lot of people get to learn their body in that much detail.
Yeah.
So it is like I think while it is a massive challenge and it's not something that I would like wish for people to go through, it's also like you now have a very unique vantage point and you also have a very like deep connection with your body and like how your body operates. Um which is like the bright side. If we're looking
Mhm.
for like what we got through that, it's like cool. We're very in sync with what your body needs, what it's doing. And so then we don't have to be reactive anymore. Like we can be proactive and we can adjust ahead of time. But yeah, the the protocols themselves, like I would compare them to prep. They are difficult
Oh,
and
yeah.
it takes a certain kind of like mental resilience, I think, to do that. And
Mhm.
I genuinely like I think that that is really gonna serve you as a coach, like, when you're working with other people because you know what you went through and what you were able to accomplish and, like, get out the other side, and so you have that ability to connect with people who might be, like, in the trenches. They might be
Mhm.
mentally feeling down, like, you know exactly what that's like, and so you're gonna be able to help, more than somebody who, like, hasn't gone through that. Because I'll tell you, like, when I did my GI protocol, I was like, this is terrible. This is terrible. Um,
It's like, I think me and you talked about it of, like,
yeah.
you're in this strict diet, and, like, I lost a lot of weight through it, and I got to almost my stage lean, but it wasn't the same type of lean as, like,
Mhm.
my stage lean looked. It was 2 different types, and it was like, "This is so weird because I'm not in prep, but I feel like I'm in prep, and I feel like I'm dying. I can't work out. Like, what is going
Yeah,
on?" And it really is, like it was, like, at times, like, do I just live with a bad gut? I can do that, right? If I don't have to go through it.
exactly. Yeah, it's like you kind of in the back of your head, you're, like, negotiating with yourself sometimes because 'cause you're just like, "This is, like, really, really hard." But you did get through it, and
Mhm.
I do feel like we've got a lot from that, and I also feel like it's probably shifted like your life in a lot of ways just because now like you are going to pursue something that you're very passionate about. Um so let's like talk a little bit about that, I guess. What what makes you so passionate about health and fitness today?
I think when I was younger, I think I played a lot in this of there's so much misinformation or there's almost too much information out there nowadays, and I remember when I was younger falling for the, like, buying a girl's glute plan because she had really nice glutes and she's selling this plan, so it's gotta work for me, and falling into those traps or falling into the yo-yo dieting of I'm just gonna eat nothing and try and lose a lot of weight, and then it just comes back, and I think I see so many people doing the same thing, and through my journey, I'm realizing, like, that is not good, and none of those are the true way to go about this, and when you have a good coach, they lay that foundation of, like, what you really need to be doing to get to your goals and how to it's not even just, "Hey, you wanna lose weight? Okay, I'm gonna help you lose weight." I
Mhm.
think a coach helps you build a lifestyle around that of like, "Okay, we're gonna get you to your dream body, and then I'm gonna show you how to keep that body. I'm gonna show you what you need to be doing for the rest of your life if you wanna maintain this, or if you wanna build muscle, okay, we can move into this." But I think it's being a coach, you get to help people not only achieve a goal, but also teach them how to maintain that goal or even go for greater if you want to.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the times that happens too, because if you're helping people achieve a goal along the way, they're gonna uncover more along their path that they're gonna be like, "Hey, actually, like, I think I wanna do this or I wanna do that instead." Um, so I love that, and I couldn't agree more because I do feel like with coaching, there's there's a lot of coaches out there, and I think sometimes that can be, like, daunting or overwhelming, but for as many coaches as there are, like, in the space and in the industry, there are 10 times more people who need help, and, like, when you were shopping for a coach and, like, you were kinda looking around and you couldn't really find somebody yet who, like, really clicked, that's
Mhm.
how, like, hundreds of people feel today, and so even though, I think sometimes even for me as a coach, like, I've been coaching for years, I still get that feeling of, like, "Ugh, I don't know if, like, there's enough people out there that want to work with me," Like, I get nervous about my
Mhm.
business and, like, growing it, but at the same time, like, there are hundreds and thousands of people out there who they're gonna connect with you in so many different ways. They're gonna find you on Instagram or a podcast or, like, you'll help a friend and their friend will tell their friend and, like, word of mouth and referrals, and it spreads. There's just so many people out there who need that help.
Oh, yeah.
And because I think you're very passionate about the journey and helping, like, people holistically, not just, like,
Mhm.
I wanna get people to stage or, like, I wanna build a team of winners or whatever, like, you have a very grounded why. I think that that's
Mhm.
also gonna draw people in. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess I'm trying to think, like, what let's just start, like, with what actually made you, like, want to dive in and really start coaching.
So I I started doing work a while back with a company called First Form, and a lot of the mentality that First Form has, I love because for them, when you work with them, it's not so much they care you're selling a product, they want you to sell a lifestyle. They
Mhm.
want you to help people achieve their goals, and every meeting I've ever sat in, every team call, it's always been about how did you help somebody? Like, what can you do to
Right.
motivate somebody? And that was kind of like the entry point of like, oh, I could make a difference. And then they offered, I got a discount through them for nutrition courses with
Yeah.
a company, I think like NCI. And I started doing that and I was like, wow, this is really cool information. And then they dive deeper on like how to coach people in nutrition and how to like help people achieve different goals and stuff. And that really inspired me. And then mix that with like working with you and I think learning your coaching style and what like a coach genuinely is. Like you were never we're gonna push you to the stage. And I got that vibe from a lot of people before that I've met of like, well, you could just work with me. I'm local and I'll get you to stage sooner. And it's like, well, no, I'm okay. Um, I think when nobody else understood what I was going through, you were like, "No, you're okay. Like, everything's okay. You're valid in what you're feeling. You're not feeling good for a reason." And I just all that kinda put together, I was like, "I really want to do that too. I really want to be that person that makes a difference for somebody else's life." And it just kind of inspired me to get as much knowledge as I can and, like, learn the type of coach that I wanna be and the type of knowledge I wanna pass down to my clients in the future and all that.
Yeah. I appreciate that too. Like, that I'm glad that that is the type of coach that I am. Sometimes it's funny, I just, like, am who I am, but when I get to have conversations with people and they say, like, "Yeah, you've treated me as a whole person and, like, you validated my experience," it's like, "Yeah, that's how it should be." But I get like, I've had personal, like, coaching experiences with coaches who are just like, it's winning and winning only, and, like, who cares about what
Mhm.
happens in the meantime? So it's like,
Yeah.
because I went through that, like, I know that that's not how I want to be ever, so I'm glad that I don't come off that way. Um, do you feel like there are, like, certain gaps in the industry, that you specifically, like, want to help solve?
Yeah, I think I want people to understand I've, like, talked to a lot of people that are like, "I just need to do steroids." or I just need to jump into, like, these things,
Oh.
and they don't have a healthy lifestyle. It's, like,
Mhm.
crazy the things, like, the places people want to go without actually knowing what they're supposed to be doing first,
Right.
and I know that was a wild thing to start
No.
off with. Um, but, like, things like that, I've seen people work with coaches that are like, "Alright, we'll do that. That's fine." Or, like, "You're very big on blood work," and
Mhm.
I've met people that have not been very big on blood work, of like, "We'll just do this just because." Like, I remember, a long time ago, like, people being like, "You want some Anavar?" And I'm like, "How do you just, like, pass that
Yeah.
along?" And, like, those kind of things, in the industry I've seen of, like, people just, like, pushing drugs or pushing this, pushing that, pushing different supplements, making you think you have to take, like, a smorgasbord of supplements just to achieve a goal, and it's not necessarily the case, and I think that's another benefit of having a coach because you can kinda see the gap in what I need to implement instead of me having to be like, "Oh, well, maybe I should just try this, or maybe I
Mhm.
should go buy this," and then you spend $1,000 on supplements, and you're probably worse than you were when you started because
Yeah.
you've overloaded yourself. So that's, like, my one of my biggest gaps, and then also people just don't understand nutrition,
Yeah.
and I think that's the biggest issue is people I've been in it too, where I've read a label, it's high protein this, high protein that, but, like, what else is in there?
Right.
What else is it made of? And so I think I wanna teach people that you can actually heal your body through food as
Yeah.
way better than you can heal them through taking a bunch of supplements and PEDs, and not that PEDs are bad, but used properly,
Right.
um, I think that's, like, teaching people with a healthy way to achieve their goals. There
Yeah.
is a way to do that.
I love that. I think those are big gaps, like, in the industry for sure, and to your point, like, the low-hanging fruit, like, the lifestyle factors of, like, hey, like, sleep, steps, water,
Mhm.
um, like, those most of the foundational work that people can do to get healthier don't it doesn't cost a lot of money. Like, usually it's
No.
free. Like, you can go for walks outside, and that will improve your health. Like, if you're not active and you start there, it will make a massive difference. But to your point, I think a lot of people want, like, the quick,
Mhm.
fix, which is, like, why we saw, like, Ozempic and all these GLPs, like, they got so big so fast, and they were being like, abused by people who didn't necessarily need them. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with those drugs. I actually think they're really
Mhm.
beneficial for people who actually need them.
Yeah.
Um, but, like, we saw the rise in popularity with them so quickly because people thought it was a quick fix, and now we're seeing the consequences of that. If you
Right.
didn't have a lifestyle in place, if you weren't eating well, if you weren't going to the gym, lifting, building muscle, any of those things, and you're taking GLP-1s, as soon as you get off, you're worse off, and these are drugs
Mhm.
that, like, you can't really do for the rest of your life. It's very expensive,
Mhm.
and it's like you would've just been better off with building that healthy lifestyle to start with,
Yeah.
so it is, like, it's it's something that I think as coaches, like, we need to be, like, speaking out about and be on the forefront of that, like, "Hey, you can live a healthy lifestyle with just a little bit of, like, effort in the right places, and you don't have to
Mhm.
spend thousands and thousands of dollars to try and do, like, a quick fix."
Yeah.
So I really love that. I also think that probably ties into, like, your coaching style. It sounds like you want to be somebody who gives accountability, education, like, you want to set them up so that when they are done with their coaching time with you, like, they can go off and maintain what they've built, and, like, I would say that's probably very similar to, like, my coaching style as well. Do you think that there's, like, a different way you would describe your coaching style, or is that what like, I guess you tell me, like, what do you want your coaching style to be like?
No, I think you nailed it. I think I've worked with you so long that I've kind of like idolized almost like your style, and I'm like that, and I've actually like heard other athletes that know you. They're like, Noah's, like, got that good vibe, like, she just seems like the good coach, and I'm like, "I know, she's great." But and, um, and I really, like I think it's says something when other athletes that work with other coaches even admire your coaching style, and it's just kind of, like, shaped how I view, like, wanting to be a coach, I think, of well, no, I like how you do have a patience and you do have, like, a very gentle vibe, but you're not afraid to, like, motivate us and be like, "Hey, I need to see videos. I need to see this. Like, what are you doing here?" And I like that balance of, like, you
Mhm.
know when you need to be a little bit more motivating, but you also know when you need to be, like, supportive at the same time, and that's kind of how I wanna be as a coach of I'm gonna push you to get your goal, but I'm also gonna, like, know when to be gentle because you're going through something or you need a little bit of a boost or you need to know something
Right.
and feel supported as well.
Yeah. I love that. That's something that, I would say, like, developed over time because
Mhm,
there were, coaches and mentors in my life that maybe, like, weren't really that way, and I know that it bugged me as an athlete, so I was like, "Okay." When I coach, I try to look at it from, like, a whole picture, like a zoomed out view, because of course, like,
mhm,
every single person is gonna go through things very differently, but also, like, when it comes to health, like, we know that there are certain things, they're like facts of this is what you can do to be healthy. So while you're your
mhm.
own unique person and I'm gonna coach you in a unique way, I also know, like, these are the things that you need to do. Um,
Right.
so having that, and I think for you, like, as you get started with a coach, like, as a coach, as long as you have that solid foundation of, like, this is who I am and how I want to be as a coach, and this is what I want to do for people, like, that's gonna
Mhm,
keep you very grounded as you work, because 'cause you're gonna work with so many different personalities and different people, and just knowing, like, when to push and when to pull and, like, when to hold accountable and when to maybe, like, give some wiggle room, it'll come with that experience, but I do think, like, we've had a lot of time together and we've gone through a lot of
mhm,
different phases together. Um, like, not only yourself, but I you've been with me through, like, 2 different team changes, and, like, now we're our own team, and now we're, like, on the
mhm,
app, and, like, just constant growth and evolution there, and so, I think I don't know, I think, like, as a coach, like, passing on the information and helping you get started and helping you as a coach is something that I'm, like, very, very grateful for and also really excited for. Um,
yeah.
I guess let's talk about your goals as both, like, an athlete and a coach. So, what are your, like, personal fitness goals that you're working towards right now?
Right now, I'm hoping we did talk about maybe possibly, competing next year. So that is fingers crossed
It's
going to
time.
happen.
Yeah.
Time. So that is, like, goal number 1. I really wanna compete next year, and I'm super excited for that. And then I think for coaching goals, it's really just, like, getting that flow, getting the word out there that I wanna take clients, I'm here to help whoever wants to. I am newer, so I'm figuring it out, but, I think I have a good base to start.
Mhm.
Um, so coaching goal is just kinda, like, getting it going,
Yeah.
getting the word out there, and really putting myself out there. That's what I have to work on is really, like, having the confidence to just put myself out there and be like, "Hello, world. I want
Yeah.
to be a coach."
Yeah, exactly. And you will, I think, especially, like, with social media and with the community that you've built both, like, in person and online, genuinely just being able to ask people like, "Hey, do you have a friend or a family member that needs help?" Like, it that's really how I got started, was I just asked around, and then I think I just
Mhm,
posted on Instagram like, "Hey, I'm taking clients," and I like, I don't recommend doing that without a plan. I did it without a
mhm.
plan, so at least you and I, like, we're coming up with some structure, some outlines. I'm giving you like, "Hey, learn from my mistakes." Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the biggest I would say, like, the biggest challenge that I still face is, like, the putting myself out there portion,
Mhm,
because there are days when, like, you don't wanna show up, you don't wanna be seen on camera and, like, go on Instagram, and,
mhm.
that's kinda been, like, my battle this year is, like, wanting to show up on Instagram, which sounds it sounds so silly, but
Mhm.
it is, like, a really difficult internal, like, mental thing, but it is, like, you're, like, in your own way. Um, I guess, like, when you talk about launching and getting clients, putting yourself out there, like, what are some of the things that you're gonna start doing?
I have to be better about Instagram too, because I will get into this routine of, like, posting, and I'll be really good, and then I'll just, like, drop off because then I get sometimes I think I just don't like to scroll, because when I
Mhm.
get into that deep scroll, then it gets depressing or it just is too much or I get stuck on my phone.
Yeah.
So I personally am trying to find the balance of how can I still put myself out there using Instagram, using maybe Facebook, um, or other apps, and not get stuck in the doom scroll of the
Yeah.
routine. Um, and so I think that like just my goal is just to start like putting myself out there on Instagram in a sense that actually shows that I'm doing coaching. Because I
Mhm.
think I'm really good about like sharing my faith on Instagram, but I'm not good about showing my gym
Right.
routine or what I'm doing or that I actually am thinking about being a coach. Like all these things or becoming a coach, I don't talk about that ever on Instagram. And that's where I'm going to reach the most people.
Yeah. Well, I think because 'cause we're talking about it on the podcast, my challenge to you is gonna be, like, don't be afraid to share that process of you becoming a coach because essentially it's a clean slate. Like, you're starting from you're just starting, and so nobody is gonna have any, like, preconceived notions about it. Like, if anything, you kind of have this opportunity to just lay it all out there. And as you get started, like, I would just say share that journey. Like, don't be afraid to share, like, your wins, your struggles, clients that you're getting, things that you're going through, things that you're thinking about as a coach. Because at the end of the day, like, people are going to hire you to work with you because they like you as a person,
Mhm.
not necessarily because, like, you put out a really cool reel or something. Like, of course, those are like attention grabbers. Like, there's social media marketing, it works for sure, but people are gonna buy like, they're gonna wanna work with you because of you and who you are. So if you can share that,
Mhm.
um, it's a lot more valuable than trying to come up with, like, the perfect post or the perfect story. Like, just it sounds so cliche, but, like, being yourself, um,
Mhm.
it's the best way to find your people, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say, like, my little challenge to you because 'cause we're going into December, before the new year, like, put at least 1 post per week of, like, some sort of coaching thing, whether it's you talking about nutrition, you talking about thinking about starting coaching or taking on athletes, start to plant the seeds because New Year's is, like, that's where a lot of people will make the decision that, like, 2026, like, I'm gonna change my life, and so you can kind of start to build that up now. Um, let me see. What do you think you want your long-term coaching legacy to be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I have gone back and forth on the type of client I wanna take, the what does, like, my business look like? Is it gonna be, like, a full-time? Like, what do I wanna do? And I I've come to the conclusion that I, 1, wanna help women of all phases of life,
Mhm.
because I think we go in so many phases as we get older that it's important to understand our bodies at all those.
Yep.
But because I love bodybuilding, I also really, really wanna get into bodybuilding coaching eventually and taking clients in that way.
Yeah.
'Cause I love the sport and I just when I, like, envision myself as a coach, I think of my, like, stage mom type of, like, cheer my girls on type of thing in the
Yeah.
future, and I really wanna do that, and, I think the legacy I wanna leave behind is just that, like, I was a coach or I am a coach that really got people to change their life in the most positive ways and helped people get those big wins in whatever aspect that they, wanted it, whether it was just to look good for their wedding or to get on stage or just to feel healthier, I wanna be, like, the the kinda coach that, like, hypes you up, you're hype girl, stage mom, just all around, I want people to remember, like, that version of me,
Mhm.
just, like, cheering my clients on.
Yeah. Yay. I love that. Just being able to make that positive impact on others, and I mean, I'm trying to think of that phrase. It's like people will remember how you made them feel, like not what you said.
Mhm.
And so I think that it sounds like the legacy you want to have is essentially just being able to help women have like a positive shift in like their lifestyle or like getting to
Mhm.
stage, like being able to support them fully in whatever phase that they're in. And I mean, I think that the coaching world needs more of that. Like I think that we
Yeah.
need you to come and be that. Um, so as far as I know you mentioned like you're still kind of thinking about the type of client that you want to take and like what the business looks like, but do you have an ideal client?
I think right now, I don't know if I have, like, the ideal client, but I wanna take on clients that definitely want to put on muscle, lose weight, like, make that life switch, help a client that wants to change up their lifestyle, like, create better lifestyle choices.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's really the person that I'm looking for, is just somebody that really wants to make that dedicated change to their life, a positive impact on their life, just be healthier all around.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really have an age um, or anything like that that I care about most. I think just anybody that is really looking to make a positive change.
Mhm.
And then eventually, once I learn more about how to prep clients and how to deal with bodybuilding clients or work with them, that's when I'll probably wanna open up the door for bodybuilding clients, but I think to get my feet wet, first I wanna take on just like the lifestyle clients that just wanna make a positive change.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I think that there's a lot of people who listen to the podcast who, because in my opinion, if you're listening to like Becoming Relentless, you're somebody who wants to change their life.
Mhm.
So throughout our conversation, if anybody listening has felt that pull towards Megan, then she is taking clients. So, um, how can or what should somebody expect like when they work with you? Like, what is your process? Do you do a consult call, email?
Mhm. So I have set up um an intake form that'll be in my LinkedIn on my bio on Instagram. Um, just fill that out and then I will probably I'll most likely text or email you to set up an actual call, and then I would love to do a consult call just to go over everything and make sure that we're a good match, and then lead into what my expectations will be going forward.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so people can find that link in your bio, and then you guys will set up a consult call. I'm a big fan of consult calls. I think that they're a great way to just like get to know each other and like answer
Mhm.
questions. And then that way you have a better idea of like who it is that you're like going to work with. And just on Instagram, are you also like on Facebook, or like where can people primarily find you and like reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. My Facebook is Megan Persico, and then my Instagram is Megan underscore Lee Leigh 9.
And I'll have all of that like in the show notes too. I'll have all of her information down below. But as far as what we talked about today, like is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to talk about?
No, I think you covered all of it.
Cool. Yay. Do you have like a biggest takeaway or like a last message to leave to our listeners today?
Hmm. I think um, if there's anything that I can suggest to anybody going through whatever phase, it's listen to your body and really take the time to get to know your body and nourish it. Just take care of it. Um, in any phase that you're in, and just I think learning your body is gonna be the best way that you will learn to take care of it, and yeah,
Yeah.
that
No,
that's
that
good.
it does, it makes sense, and I actually think that that is an important, like, takeaway because it's taken it's taken me personally years, and
Mhm,
I'm still learning because kind of what you talked about, like, we are going to grow and change, and, like, your body's gonna go through different phases just naturally, biologically, so being able to cultivate, like, self-awareness and
mhm,
understanding, like, what your body is trying to tell you, it is so important, so, like, take the time to understand, cultivate that awareness within, and then that way, like, you're not just constantly reacting to things, but I think that that is a huge, like, lesson for everybody.
mhm.
Cool. Um, I think that that is all that I had. So, Megan, all of your information will be in the show notes below. If anybody listening is interested, please reach out to her. I am so, so excited. I think that she's going to be a wonderful, amazing coach. I know that she is. So, if you're interested in working with her, please go apply. Um, but yeah, is there anything else you want to let the listeners know before I wrap it up?
Um, well, thank you for having me. This has been so fun. Thank you guys so much. And definitely, if you want to work with me, if you think we could be a good fit, please reach out. I would love to get to know anybody. And thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really glad that we were able to do this. I love having you on. Everybody, thank you guys so much for listening. If you could like, share, subscribe, send the podcast to a friend, it helps me out a ton. But as always, like, I just appreciate you guys for being here, and I will catch you on the next episode. So stay relentless.